Hello and welcome to the channel. We're just going to do an oil change on this L1 GSXR-750. One thing I've got to say is you've got to make sure that the engine has actually been warmed up to operating temperature, and mine has, because I've actually been out and had a new tyre fitted to it. So you just got to actually remove the fairings just by these 4 bolts to access the oil filter. They're relatively easy, they're just on an Allen key head. There is some push clips underneath the bottom of the fairing in the centre to allow it to actually separate from the other side. You just literally pop these out, and then there's actually a brace bracket in between the fairings and in front of the radiator. All you need to do is just pop the one side off again. Just push the clips to one side to keep them safe. There's 2 additional clips up inside the fairing under the nose, just literally they're push clips, just push them in, and that will actually allow them to come away from the inside fairing in the nose cone. Now just be firm but not too hard when you're pulling your plastics off, because you don't want to break the clips. And as you actually get this off and it separates from the bottom, you actually just want to remove the breather hoses for the fuel tank, and they just slip out of the clip. Now here you're just literally ready to crack off your sump nut. Again, be just firm but gentle, because these are only alley bottom ends and you don't want to actually break them. I've actually seen where they've snapped the bottom off these. Just crack off the nut, get ready with an oil container, and just try and not drop your nut into the actual oil. More of a pain trying to fish it out than anything. What you do want to look for, actually on the bottom of this nut, is a magnetic point, and that will actually pick up any debris that's come from either your box, your engine. It's a good sign on how the wear of your internals are going. A little bit of black paste like this isn't actually a problem, it's something that you'll see each time you do an oil change. But you don't want to find any big chunks of metal. This could be from bad gear changing, or a damaged gear, or even an internal worn part. It's not something you want, but it's good to keep an eye on in oil changes. Now I do an oil change about every 2,000 miles. The book says about 3,000 on these. Now this is about the best time to put your oil plug, your sump plug back in. Again, put a new crush washer on it and wind it back in, trying to not cross thread it. You want to pinch this up tight, but not too tight. Like I just said a minute ago, they are alley bottom ends, so you don't actually want to wind in a steel knot on an alley bottom end and thread it. Just clear off any dripping oil and then tighten her up. If I remember correctly, I think these are about 16 foot-pound of torque, which is not much over hand tight. Get ready to just remove your oil filter. I like these brace ones instead of the chain ones to actually get a better purchase. And again, these shouldn't have been swung on tight by the previous person who done this, so you should just be able to ease this off. When you actually drop this oil filter, you will get oil coming out of it, so make sure you've got a container under it or a rag. Now with these bikes, they're about 2,200 ml of oil, but with a filter it's 2,500 ml of oil. But always check your handbook anyway for your bike. Just run a bit of oil around the seal of the new filter and wind this back onto the bike, but again, try not to thread this, so just be gentle as you're putting it back on. You really want to pinch these up by hand. all I do is once I get it tight, just clean off the air of any excess oil, and then I just use a tissue or a rag to just clean off the filter, and then use that to just get a purchase because my hand's slippy, and then just tighten her up. Just so it's tight and it won't go that any further. You don't want to really swing on it, but get it nice and pinched up. And you're ready to get some oil in her. Okay, use Suzuki 1040. It's a great oil. I've used it in the car version of all my cars, and then also in my bikes. Again, like I say, this is 2200 ml of oil, so literally just top this up so it's actually at the full mark, and you'll see that in the viewing window there. And there we are at the full mark. Now really you just want to fire this bike up and get her up to operating temperature. Only run her up till she's up to temperature. You'll see that the oil disappears at the viewing glass. But then once she's at that operating temperature, just literally knock her off. What you're doing then is just topping her back up to full from what the oil has gone around the engine. Get her right on the actual full line, and then you're ready to go. So you just need to put the fairings back on in the reverse order of what you took them off. Once you take this bike for a ride, or if you're just going to run it up to temperature again, just double check on your oil level, just to be on the safe side. But really, anything either just below the full mark or on the full mark, you don't want to go above, otherwise you start to damage the bike. And that's it. You're once you've got all your bolts in, you're ready to go.